So something else I wanted to tack on really quickly to the part 2 that I just made of taking Melly Germany apart, where I talk about my profession. She comments right here at the very top. Could it be that it is precisely this way of thinking that causes you the difficulties you are experiencing in relating to other people and finding meaningful, genuine relationships, friendships and relationships, or to find success in a profession? And I just addressed the profession part in my previous video, where I said, I figured out that in my freshman year in art school, that I actually don't want a profession, or I wanted my profession to be a stay-at-home mom and a homemaker, to educate my own children and be concerned with their nutrition and their proper development. Which is why I mean, the best way I could figure a way out of the whole situation being in art school was I majored in graphic design, because I figured at the very least I could possibly use that skill to make some money from home, because a lot of graphic design jobs can be done from home. So it's, for those of you who are like, she just doesn't want to work or make any money, it's like, I consider being a proper mom to be a lot of work. Being a homemaker is a lot of work. And here's the thing, I hear tell that it used to be a lot easier back in the day for women to just settle down with a man, with a husband, and live in a house and have children and concern themselves every day with the well-being of their children, with the education of their children, with the nutrition of their children, making sure their family gets 3 square meals a day, planning out meals. That's a whole job in and of itself. Planning, budgeting meals, making sure you have all the necessary ingredients, shopping for them, then making the meals. Sometimes that can take hours and hours, depending on what you're cooking. I've done 3-hour briskets and so on and so forth. And then, the cleanup, that's just a whole job in and of itself for a whole family, 3 times a day. But then, there's also cleaning, laundry, and then of course there's, educating. If you choose to be, to homeschool, which I would choose to do, that's more work. It's a lot of work. It's work that never ends. It's all day work. It's not a 9-to-5 job. It's an all day job. So, but I was not against, doing some other work to bring in some money if necessary on the side, which is why I majored in graphic design. Otherwise, I would have gone into art therapy. Hence taking the abnormal psych classes in art school. Anyway, so I hear it was a lot easier back in the day for women to be able to just, not just, to be a wife and a mom, to do that and focus on that, and that was her job. And it was not a shameful thing. You were looked upon positively if that was something that you did. And it seems like that's getting harder and harder. It seems damn near impossible for most women to do that these days. And there are a lot of reasons for that, but I'm going to go ahead and say that one of the reasons are females like Miss Melly Germany here, who seem to argue with women who are saying, the best thing you can do is to be a mom, and dedicate yourself to that. I mean, yeah, there's lots of other things you can do, but nothing will be as meaningful or change your life or be as impactful on the world around you as, having some children and dedicating yourself to developing them, raising them properly. I can give you another reason is women flooding the job market and accepting less pay for doing the same job as a man. And so then they typically are given the job over the man, also because they do a lot more work typically. This is just the statistics I'm quoting that I've heard over and over and over again. Women tend to work harder than men. They go overboard with their work, and they'll do it for less money. And so any company with a little bit of intelligence that wants to save some money is going to hire a woman over a man for any given position, most positions. So That means it's harder for men to make enough money to support a family on their own, and that means, their wife is shit out of luck if she wants to stay home with the kids and focus on the kids. She's got to go out and work too, or else they can't even afford their mortgage. But it's also, it's females like Miss Melly Germany here kind of seeding this idea amongst the population that it's somehow a lesser life pursuit to be a stay-at-home mom, to be a homemaker, to dedicate yourself to making your house a home instead of just like a scrambled, chaotic mess where people don't have, a sit-down meal. That's how I grew up. Nobody sat down around a table and ate, except for holiday meals. People would stand in the kitchen and eat, barely talk to each other. People were in and out of the house all the time for this job and this shift and that shift, so on and so forth. It does not make for a very secure childhood, right? And, by the time mom's done working, she's too tired at the end of the day to hear her kids talk about things like, Mom, I'm sad. Mom, I'm upset. Mom, I'm excited. Mom, anything. Mom, I'm being bullied. Mom, I don't feel well. I don't feel right about, Mom, I'm scared of the future. Mom, I don't know what I'm supposed to be. They don't have the time or the energy to deal with that, and they just kind of ignore it and or plop their kids down in front of a television or an iPad or video games and just go, distract them through their childhood anymore, instead of sitting down and guiding them through very important, emotions and thoughts that they need to be taught how to, work through this stuff and how to work with this stuff. So thanks a lot, Melly Germany. Like, it's females like you that make it so that women like me can't do, what women have done for millennia, primarily have done for millennia, focused on the well-being of their children. And it's like, I don't know how the last few generations of females got it into their heads that they know better than every woman that came before them for thousands of years. I mean, I won't dismiss the fact that, dudes being assholes and treating women like property rather than like are their partners had played a big part in us kind of going like, F this, to hell with this, I'm just going to go make my own money and I'm going to be the boss around here since you don't want to treat me with the respect I deserve. A lot of it can be laid at the feet of egotistical men. But these days, even more and more, particularly since like the 60s, where women were just told like, you should do everything. You can have everything. You can have the family, you can have the kids, you can have the husband, but you can also have the career. It's like, that's not advisable. Or it's not advisable to do all at once, at least. Have the career and then have the family, or have the family and then have the career. Kids grow up and then you'll have a lot more free time on your hands. But juggling a career with raising kids is not fair to the kids. That's my stance. That will always be my stance. Has always been my stance. It's just not fair to the kids. They deserve your full undivided dedication and attention. They're little human beings, and the species deserves that as well, because they're the future of our species. If you don't do a good job with them, they're going to be fucked up. And then by extension, the species is going to be fucked up. Right? So you need to treat it like it is your career. If you choose to have kids, you need to treat that like it's your career. And you can always switch careers later, again, when the kids age out. And it just feels like more and more, and it really is, it's the hardest job, because if you don't do a good job with these kids, it's basically little human beings that you're messing up. It's a lot of pressure and stress and a burden on the woman, on our shoulders. We need to do a good job, or else the kid is going to be messed up. They're not going to have a good life. They're going to suffer all kinds of chronic ailments, psychological, emotional, and even physical, because, psychological ailments can manifest themselves physically, throughout their lives. And if you don't teach them good habits, like brush your teeth, again, that's more problems. Eat good, healthy food. That's more problems. It's physical problems they're going to have. So I feel like a lot of women subconsciously, without even realizing it, they understand how high the stakes are for a job like being a mom. And so more and more they want to just kind of split that job with the man. And that's just not advisable, not in my opinion, or in nature's opinion, because again, nature did not make men to be the primary caregivers. It wired women to be the primary caregivers. It wired men to be the resource providers. I'm not going to get into all, I've already done this in previous videos. I'm not going to get into all the reasons, start listing all the reasons why that is. Just look at reality, start comparing, contrasting men and women a little bit, and you'll start to understand that. So ladies, I understand it's a hard job. It's the hardest job, but we were the ones made to do it, not men. I'm not saying they should never be around their kids, but they should not be the primary caregivers. You know, they should definitely just be coming home at the end of the workday and spending a few hours with the kids before bedtime, and that's it. So it's really just, it's shitty that there are all these females out there now, you know, ranting and raving that a stay-at-home mom is not really good enough. She's not doing a good enough job with her life. She's not fulfilling herself. She's not meeting her potential. That all she is a stay-at-home mom. It's like, that's the hardest job. If you fuck that up, you're going to make serial killers. You're going to make Adolf Hitlers. You need to do this. You need to really focus up on this job. It's the hardest one. It's high stakes. You need to treat it as such. It needs to be given more reverence than it is. It's certainly, I think, a lot harder than being CEO of some stupid company. It's higher stakes than being CEO of some stupid company, with the exception of, again, some certain positions, like, for example, the CEO of the DuPont company that okayed the leakage of all that toxic chemical stuff into the drinking water and the atmosphere, and yeah. But still in all, overall, and I venture to say that if that dude, whoever, signed off on that, if he were raised properly by his mom and told, no, there are things that you just don't do, then he wouldn't have done that, and we wouldn't all be poisoned, right, with that chemical in our bloodstreams. So again, it is the most important job. Stop belittling it. I mean, damn. So, yeah, and that's one of the, like, that's what kicked off this whole thing. With the video that you commented on here, with me talking about, it's not only is it the most fulfilling and meaningful thing to have a family, but it is the most important job, and by virtue of the fact that it's the most important job and is most high stakes and has the biggest impact on the world, means it's the most meaningful. It's one of the reasons why it's the most meaningful, at least. All right? So, yeah, you go be Amelia Earhart, honey. Okay? And tell yourself that you're an empowered professional woman. But, you're lying to yourself, and you're making it harder for real women who want to do real woman's work, because we understand how important it is. We understand, the things that are at stake, the future of our species, the future of our planet. So, and yeah, keep leaving stupid comments on my YouTube channel by all means, so I can continue to pick you apart.